Hey everybody, it's me, Everyday Nerdy, and today's a bit different because I finished the RX-78 build. Well, it's been done for a while, but finally got the courage to be like, hey, look, I did this, and I'm going to talk about how I did it. I have the STL up for sale, finally, on my website, which I have a link somewhere in the description above, wherever I can figure out where to place it. And we're going to talk about my process for building it, and I'm going to show you how I connect all the pieces together. So let's start off with some, I guess you could say specs, quote unquote. This helmet is very large. It was printed on CR10 Max, but you don't have to print it on that. I have my STL file where I sliced it up in individual pieces, and the pieces would fit, what's those printers called again? The Ender 3 and the Prusa, because those are like the most popular ones that people have. So CR10S, a lot of people have, but that one is fairly large. The CR10S is actually what I used to print all the orange pieces. And then the blue pieces were printed on the Max because I wanted the one blue, I call it the shell piece, to be printed as one whole entire piece because it's big. So the blue piece was printed roughly at, I want to say, a 0.5 layer on a 0.6 nozzle, and all the orange pieces were printed at I want to say a 0.2 on accident because I usually print at a 0.3 because I gotta, I don't got time to wait. And it was on like a 0.4 nozzle, roughly around there. Because I think I had some already on a 0.2, and I just, you click print, you don't realize what's printing, and I was like, oh, why does this look so much nicer than this one? And I'm like, oh, because of the layer height. But so that's all the small specs for the printer. But what I want to discuss is the part that I am so fascinated with this thing I created was that it's very modular. And what I mean by that is the face is magnetic, the horns are, the V-fins are, and then the centerpiece all can be taken off and put on with magnets is great. But before I talk more about that stuff, I want everyone to hear one of my favorite things of 3D printing, and it is the satisfaction of the noise of taking a print off a flexi bed. I love it. It is like, I don't know how to describe it. I get so eager to take a print off the bed because of this noise. It really makes my day when I do it. So, voila, we're going to listen to it real right now. So, now that we've heard one of my favorite noises, which I don't know why I think it's a satisfaction knowing that, like, the print is done. Not necessarily that it got done correctly. It was just, the sense of completing something. So, now we're going to talk about all the pieces you can see behind me of what is needed to print this. And all these pieces are in the STL file. So, we're going to start with, you have the V-fins. The V-fins are magnetic and have magnet holes in them. The magnets for the V-fins are roughly, I want to say, 2 millimeters in depth, and the diameter, I want to say, is 15 millimeters. If it's wrong, I'll have the information somewhere. Don't know where yet. And then those V-fins connect to the centerpiece. The centerpiece has a magnet hole of 32 millimeters and a depth of 2 millimeters, I believe, also. So now that we have that, the next thing is we have the face. The face connects to what I call the crown because it looks like a crown. And the crown is glued to the face right here, and then that gets put into the face connectors. The face connectors will be glued into the shell, but you have these studs that you can see that they're used to align it, which is similar to how, like, I call it the IKEA furniture concept. There's probably another real name for it, but IKEA is pretty much how my furniture is. So I use that concept to have alignment studs or pins, whatever you want to say, to make sure those face connectors are in the correct position. So then I can take the face, which is now glued to the crown, so the crown is connected with magnets to those face connector pieces. And those are the 15 millimeter diameter ones. You can just go boop, 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 and it's really cool. So the last things I want to say before we get into videos of me building it is the super glue. So the super glue, I believe, is just like regular super glue. I'm going to have pictures of the super glue behind me. And the one thing I use, you could say as a cheat sheet, was I use an accelerator for the super glue because I don't have time to wait all day for things to glue. I go psh, 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 with a spray, and it's pretty sturdy. I may spray more than what's needed. It's only because I get nervous and I usually end up super gluing my finger. I'm used to it. I had like so much. I actually learned that the best way to put the glue for the magnets is to use a Q-tip, because I was ending up with so much glue all over my hands, and then I had to like Google how do you get super glue off your hands quickly, and everywhere it said basically just use like hot water and like soap and just keep washing your hands. It worked. I don't know if you guys have another technique. Let me know. I don't want to do anything with vinegar because I'm really tired of the vinegar smell. But either way, let's get to me assembling this helmet. I didn't realize how exciting it would be to do this, but it is. So, here we go. Alright everybody, so here is the Gundam helmet. The magnet, the large one's a 32, it's in the center, and that's how they hold themselves in. And then the V-fins, they have the 15 millimeter diameter. You can put them in, put them out. They fit snug. It's great. Now here we have the crown. The crown has the other magnets that connect to the head connectors, which I just attached. So the center one is 32, and then the outer ones are 15 diameters. So usually for the super glue, I try to use the Q-tip to spread it around evenly, because when I don't do that, I just put way too much. And for me, the hardest part here is to make sure I put the magnet on the correct side, which is why you see me do it 2 times. It's very annoying. And there. Just rinse and repeat, and you do it for all of them. And then once you have the crown done, before I super glue things on, I just like to make sure, it looks nice just like manually holding it, and that's what the crown would look like with the face. It really does look like a crown. Now here's where it gets a bit tricky, and this is where I try to do the best I could. So you see you have the face connectors connected onto the crown piece right now, and that's a stud right there, or alignment, whatever you want to call it. So here's another alignment pin, and I place this one here in the center because I noticed the center one, you can put it onto the shell, and it kind of can hold itself in there. So I use that as a point of reference. And then the other alignment pins that are on the smaller sides of the crown, I put them in. You can think of this as just like the left and right, or the eyeball ones, because that's where it's on the profile of the face, not on the center. And so I put some super glue in where the alignments pins would go. Try not to be too shy with it. You put a lot. And then this is where all you could say magic happens. So you can see the alignment pins they're kind of giving the guide of how this would fit in. And it took a bit, because usually once I got one, the other one would kind of slip off a bit. So I would try to use 2 hands and try to get it to push itself in. And you kind of hear a click once they aligned correctly. And then I just hold it, and I usually use that accelerator for the glue. I go psh, 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 and I do that. Now I've only done the side ones that are glued in, because once the side ones are fully glued in, the center one can be done last. So here is where, obviously I gave it more time, but this is where I try to delicately pull off the crown, and this is where I glue my finger, as I always do. So got my finger glued, and let me just peel. Yeah. It's always gluing my fingers. Really annoying. But that's how the face connectors would be connected. As you know, play with them a little to make sure they're snugged. But this is the only way I could think of to make sure everything aligns correctly. And now I just put it right back in. Just do double checking, and it seems to fit everything correctly. So now to do the centerpiece. So the centerpiece is going to be easier because you have 2 references already done. So what I do differently with this one, since the alignment pin is more wobbly when you put it into the face connector piece, I just, put a lot of super glue. Put it everywhere because I want it to fit as snug as I can get it super glued in to the connector piece and touching the Gundam shell. And since I'm still kind of new to like how much glue needs to be used and how much stuff needs to be done, I just try to lather it all up and make sure it looks nice and glossy with all that super glue. And then I put in the pressure. So But as you can see, this is actually a lot, the third one, center one, is a lot easier than the side ones. Because once you have it in, you have two other ones aligning it. I just put in pressure, use some strength, and then for the spray. Because you want it nice and snug. And like I said, when you put the pressure and you'll hear a click and you'll almost feel it too. So, which is what I like. Because before it was like a guessing game for me and I kept messing it up. And all that, so you can see this. My favorite part. You can disconnect and connect the face, no problem. You can even do it while the Gundam helmet is on your head. I freaking love it. This here is amazing. I am just so proud and happy of this creation. Sorry I didn't have any good footages of me actually holding the helmet. I actually had to give the helmet to its the person I was making it for, aka Gunpla Melly. It's at her place right now, so we'll see what she does with it. I gave it to her as a Christmas gift, so it took a hot minute for me to get it. I appreciate her patience waiting for this helmet. So tell me what you guys think of this helmet. Like, what are things you want to see? I know I got a lot of things still in store, but you know, I'm trying to get there one by one. So I know it's been a while since I posted. I'm trying to get back into it, and yeah. So I hope everyone's having a good, start of the year, and let's just keep it going with all these creations. All right. See y'all next time. Bye.